Yes, the Boyue Likebook Mimas is 10.3, and the Onyx Boox Max2 Pro Limited Edition is 13.3. We just want to show that these are the two latest releases from two companies that are taking note-taking on e-ink screens to the next level. They're laid out both in very nice ways. You can see that on the Onyx we have library, shop, note, storage, apps, and settings. And then on the Boyue we have books, notes, and apps. Apps is probably the most important one you're going to go to on a daily basis because this is where all of your apps are. You will see that everything that is surrounded in a black square, will be pre-installed, and anything with the icon like this will be side-loaded. Same on the Boyue. You have some stuff up top, and this will toggle between volume, page turns. You have disable touchscreen with your fingertip. You have A2 mode, which is very important. This has A2 mode as well. A2 mode is very industry standard now. It reduces the quality of the image, but it highly speeds up the device. If you tap the top here of the Boyue, you get a drop down of new SD card detected, setup, eject, etc. You can also do multi-screen like so, as well as the Onyx can do that as well. So they're both very similar in that regard. Reading on a 13.3 is awesome. You don't have to turn as many pages. A lot of text gets displayed on the screen. It makes a 10.3 look small, and it isn't. Tapping on the center, we'll start with the Boyue. You have quick navigation. It's very nice, very simple. We can click on the text, and we have font size, everything changes live, and typeset. They go a step further, and you can choose the font size, bolds, and italic, and you can do both at the same time. So instead of finding a bold font, it just bolds it, which is really cool. You have typeset here, and actually they go even further, and this can get a little wacky, so be careful. Look at word spacing. That can get almost unreadable, so be careful how you make your customization, because it can get a little too customizable, if you know what I mean. Clicking on the gear, you get some reading settings, shows you how to navigate pressing in the center versus turning pages. You have page refresh, use 1 to 40 or never. And then tapping as well into the bottom here, you have contrast. Contrast, you can actually isolate picture contrast, which won't affect the text. And you can do word contrast, which will make it much heavier or lighter respectively. Auto page turning just allows you basically to auto page turn anywhere from 1 to 120 seconds. I doubt you can read that in 1 second, but if you'd like to challenge yourself, feel free. Last thing here is landscape orientation. That'll change it from landscape to portrait. Clicking on something like that, you get a copy, underline, annotation, wiki, translation, and we'll look at the keyboard comparisons in a second. And up top you have the glow light, which unfortunately we can't really compare because the Onyx doesn't have one. However, note that nobody has one on a 13.3. On to the Onyx. Clicking into the center, you have font face, which allows you to change all the fonts. Now look at this, 2 Chinese fonts, fantastic. 26 pages of fonts. It's hundreds and hundreds of fonts on here. That's a lot. So text styles is spacing, paragraph, page margins, indentation, non-indentation. Onyx takes it to the next level and does code page. If you're using font that needs UTF-8 or simplified Chinese structure, you can actually change it to that. They have everything here. They have Russian OEM, they have Japanese, Korean, a lot of different font options, and it really has a lot of customization. Contrast, they have contrast for heaviness and boldness of text, and you can make a set as global preference, which means everything you load will look like that. Clicking on this, we have rotation, rotates 4 ways, and more. Text-to-speech, refresh, slideshow, and settings. Settings as well, we showed you on the Boyue. We'll take you over to the system settings. Now, it basically just takes you to the system settings, so a lot of these might have to do with the reading experience, but you'll have to dive in because this thing is really settings heavy, and there's a lot of different ways you can change your reading experience. Long pressing on the Onyx gets the same things. Copy, highlight, annotation, dictionary, TTS. You can choose your dictionaries here. We'll just go to annotation because we want to look at note-taking. Well, I'll just write Peter is here. Peter space is space here. You can see no delay, no catch up. I'll do it the same on the Boyue. You will hear the clicking because this thing is super heavily Android and it comes with the sound already on. You'll hear me clicking away. So again, no skipped letters, no catch up. Both of these keyboards are very nice. Note-taking is where these guys flourish. I mean, this is the point of these devices. And if you want to see more on these, you can look on the individual videos of both of these. Let's start with the Onyx and the paintbrush. So you do have levels of pressure sensitivity. You can make hairlines, you can make thick lines. That's very nice. You can use the pencil if you want to keep consistent lines all the way through. They have circles, triangles, and squares to make very nice geometrical shapes. The erasing is very nice. You can actually erase with the back of the pen or click on the eraser and erase all. If staining gets too much of a problem, click the refresh and all the staining is gone. Lasso is very nice. What we'll show you here is I'll draw a box, just a very simple box, use the lasso tool, isolate that area, and now I can actually move this around as a transparent PNG image. You can keep proportions by dragging the side, or you can actually change the proportions and stretch it like so. That is really cool. This is now doing basically what the Remarkable is doing, and that's priceless because now you don't have to buy a dedicated device. Now we'll go right Peter and press done. I can now move this text around as I see fit. I can expand the borders, I can change the points, bold, underlined, italic, copy it all the way to the moon, just keep copying and delete it as I see fit. You do have colors as well, quote unquote, and what I mean by that is if I draw black on the page like so, I can go to the color, go to the paintbrush, and start erasing, kind of, or writing in another color. And that's really cool because basically that means that you can do very detailed work. That timed out, don't worry about that, we'll get into that in a second. So this is cool as well because we have different backgrounds, and although you can add in your own personal backgrounds via PDF and all that, you can choose ledgers, musical sheets. We'll go to black ink and I'll just show you that I can write my next award-winning sonata like that. I wonder what notes those are. I played piano many moons ago. You have touch screen, you can turn off the touch layer, which is not necessary because as you can see, I can touch 5 points on the screen and still write perfectly fine with all the levels of pressure sensitivity. So this device has such good palm rejection technology, you don't really even need to turn it off, but for good measure you can. You can export the page, export all pages, or you can actually move the menu position change to the other side. So if you're left-handed, it won't get in the way. On the Boyue, you can expand and get rid of the menu bar, which you can also do in the Onyx. I will note like so. So we can use the paintbrush like that, or we can use the pencil to make the lines consistent all the way through. We have colors on here as well, so if I wanted to use white, I can go ahead and delete the white, or basically draw white. You have line thicknesses right here. You can make the lines very thick. You can choose the eraser size, bigger or smaller. You have some quick keys up above, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and different ways to erase. So you have track erase, all erase, and range erase, which is really cool because I can select a certain range and then it goes away. I'm gonna go over here to my pencil and draw an amazing box again, and I'll click the Boyue lasso tool and I'll move that around. Now you'll see that unlike the Onyx, I can't change the proportions of this. I can keep the proportions by expanding it from the corners, but I can't stretch it and make it different. I can still turn it around and move it around, and I have access to basically making it like a transparent PNG you see here, but I actually can't change the proportions. That's a little bit of a letdown, but no problem there. You have a quick refresh as well, a back if you make a mistake, and then it saves this to actually show you different backgrounds as well. So you have, if you want to practice pinyin, Chinese characters, Cornell notes, left column, or your time schedule. I like the time schedule in reviews because it just shows a lot of cool stuff. So you see you have a meeting, oh that's the lasso. So I can go back to here and go, I have a meeting, important, very important, summary 100%. and you can actually make new pages like that and cycle through the pages. You also have delete this page, copy this page, ban mode, which is the same as the Onyx, banning the touchscreen, although it doesn't get in the way once again. It doesn't matter how many fingertips you put down, there is no hindrance. I mean, the palm rejection technology on both of these is very good. You don't need to worry about that. So the note-taking experience isn't better or worse on any of these. They're just different and they do different things. You might have also been noticing that I'm using the same stylus on both of these, and this is because they use the same Wacom layer from both of these companies. And the stylus, unlike the Sony RP1, does not need to be powered, does not need to be charged, doesn't have batteries, and it isn't $116 to replace. These are very cheap. You can buy them from the Goody Reader store or the respective companies if you have a hookup. This hasn't been a comparison in terms of who's a winner, because there is no winner. These are both companies that are doing amazing things in the realm of note-taking. This is a 13.3, this is a 10.3, Onyx has 10.3s. Boyue's coming out with new stuff. I mean, these guys are both really taking e-readers and e-ink devices to a very 2019 feel. We've seen other companies bring out stuff and they feel old, they feel played out. I mean, these are both using really high-level specs, high-level technologies, and when the Onyx Boox Note Pro comes out, we can finally see what the Onyx looks like with a glow light, because right now Boyue has a glow light and Onyx doesn't just yet, but they are coming out with 2 units coming this April and May. For GoodyReader.com, in a comparison of the latest releases from Onyx and Boyue respectively, this is Peter.